Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Douglas Ross has thrown down the gauntlet, this time over oil. The Tories, of course, are all for exploiting the oil fields, creating the wealth, spreading it, keeping high-paid, high-end jobs, tech jobs, in Scotland, and so therefore feeding the whole economy, especially in the northeast. The SNP, at the behest of the Greens, want to completely eradicate the oil and gas industry, removing from Scotland a major source of investment and of income, and utterly devastating the economy of the northeast, but also of the whole of Scotland. They're doing this in the misguided belief that they think it will somehow help the environment. It won't, and indeed it will make things worse. But they're too stupid to understand that, because oil and gas, of course, are needed not just for fuel, but for a million other things. And that's the problem. They don't understand that. And regardless of whether every car in the world is electric, you're still going to have to drill for oil. But hey-ho, you can't tell them because they're very stupid. Meanwhile, Labour are sitting on the fence, and one can presume only because they like the feeling of the fence between their cheeks. They want to say, yes, they're for the oil industry because they know they need the jobs, and they are supposed to be the party of the working man. But at the same time, they've got to pretend they don't like oil to try and keep the weird lefty environmentalists on board. Let's take a look at this, because Ross, I think, is the only one with a sensible solution, and I'm not endorsing the Tories. I'm just saying, these are the facts, ma'am. Here goes. So Douglas Ross lays down the gauntlet to Humza, Yousaf and Sarwar on North Sea oil as he issues a debate challenge. But of course they probably won't accept it because they both know that their positions are incredibly weak. They know what the positions are on terms of investment, of jobs, of the economy, and of, still, undoubtedly, the world's great need for oil. And you know, if you've got oil on your doorstep and you stop the oil on your doorstep, what's going to happen? Well, you'll have to bring the oil in from halfway around the world. That means big tankers travelling the world, risking pollution, risking spillage, to bring to you oil that you could have just had. It's an amazingly dim outlook on life, but then this is the SNP, so we don't expect much else. The SNP and Scottish Labour have clashed on the issue this week, but the Scottish Conservatives say only they will protect the industry. Because they're looking to put levies on to reduce this and so forth, as well as being outright anti-oil and gas for the SNP. None of them know what they're doing. But none of them, I think, totally understand that petrol effectively is a waste product. And they actually had to invent the petrol engine as a means of using up all the petrol. Now, this is the weird thing, and I've asked this a million times. Get rid of all the petrol engines, which, of course, had to be invented to use up petrol. What are you going to do with all the petrol? Because you still need oil for a million different reasons. And so you've still got to refine it. And in the refining process, you're still going to produce petrol. What are they going to do with it? You can't store it. Very dangerous. You can't let it evaporate into the atmosphere. That's even worse for the atmosphere than burning it. If only there was some way of using that petrol to do something useful. Morons. Anyway, Douglas Ross has thrown down the gauntlet to his political opponents on the issue of North Sea oil and gas. The Scottish Conservative leader has challenged rivals Humza, Yousaf and Sarwar to debate the issue. They can't debate it. They're on the losing side. Hey, Humza, you've got this massive industry, brings in millions upon billions of pounds. It keeps a lot of people gainfully employed in very high educated, high worth jobs. That then filters down in and keeps the whole of the northeastern economy going. Just tell me, you want to get rid of that, yeah? Oh yes, but we will have another industry of recyclable. Yeah, but you don't have that yet. And it won't produce as many jobs. And it's all going to be foreign owned like it already is. And Scotland will benefit very little from it. See, he's lost. Before he starts, he knows it as well. It's one of the few things he's actually managed to grip. I mean, not a very bright man, But even he knows he's on the wrong side of this one. And Anna Sarwar, I mean, there's another one going, oh, we're going to tax. Yeah, but tax destroys investment. And he knows that as well. He's not stupid enough. And so he's got to mouth these things. But, you know, how about going around how to destroy your economy? All the time. We've seen all the time. The SNP and Labour don't half want to destroy economies because of their misplaced idea that people making money is a bad thing. Now, I don't have a problem with a windfall tax on these companies at the moment because they are making horrendous billions more than they have been of late. On the other hand, don't forget that a lot of that profit goes in to pensions, because who's the big shareholders of all these things? It's pension funds. And so if you destroy the oil and gas industry, pensioners all over Britain get poorer. But again, it's not brain science, is it? It's not brain surgery. It's not rocket surgery, right? Because you've only got to realise little things like the biggest owner of shares in the petrochemical industry are the pension schemes, and everyone who's got a private pension has got shares and a vested interest in keeping that going. Will somebody please explain to these morons that that is how it works? And isn't it funny? I'm not going to get into this thing, right? But isn't it funny how the one person who's pro-oil, because he understands the need for oil and the fact that the money goes into the pension funds and things, is the one man who is not of a certain gang. And yet the other two are of that gang. And they both want to destroy one of Scotland's biggest industries. It's almost as though they want to turn Scotland into a third world shithole for some unexplored reason. But we'll leave that one for another video. Anyway, Ross has written to the SNP and the Scottish Labour leaders to agree a proposal first put forward by Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce. It follows Labour's announcement it would increase the windfall tax on oil profits to 78%. Sarwar clashed with Yousaf on the issue at FMQs last Thursday, but the Tories say neither the Nats nor Labour can be trusted to protect the sector. That's because they haven't got a clue. They literally don't know what they're talking about. These people are morons. Anyway, despite opposition to Labour's windfall tax, tax rise, the SNP has refused to back new oil fields, such as Cambo and Rosefield. The great thing is, whether they back them or not is immaterial. It's a reserved matter, and Westminster said, off you go, boys. While Labour's tax plan will put 42,000 jobs at risk, according to figures in the industry. Mr Ross said a debate is essential to provide clarity for North East communities on the plans of Scotland's three main parties for an industry which supports around 100,000 jobs. That's 100,000 jobs directly. You've then got to look at the tertiaries and the quaternary jobs that go along with that. It sustains the local economy. So there's bars and restaurants and clubs and pubs. There's the Porsche dealership. There's the Vauxhall dealership. There's those people. There's the ones that work surrounding them, the supply chain to those businesses. It supports the whole of the northeastern community. That's the extent of it. Millions of people reliant, 1 million people at minimum reliant on this industry. And that's before you look at all the money filtering down to Edinburgh to be spent, or going down to London to be spent, and council taxes paid and things like that. You get rid of it. All that council tax, gone. Aberdeenshire, finished. Why? Because everyone then is having their council tax paid by the council. Council hasn't got the money. Council's got to go to Holyrood and go, oh, look, no, all these unemployed now, they're not paying their council tax. They're all in the dole and getting it paid by, the local authority. I've got to cover that. So can we have the money for it? And then Holyrood go, no, I ain't got any money. It's genius work, isn't it? And this is what happens when you allow morons control of the world. Stop voting monkeys into power. They keep filling the world with bananas and none of them has a clue what they're doing. Anyway, he says both the SNP and Labour have displayed a reckless disregard for the North Sea sector and the benefits it brings to Scotland. He said, I believe this debate is necessary so the public can hear directly from leaders of political parties and make an informed choice at the general election about who best represents them. I can be honest, if you're living in Aberdeen, or Aberdeenshire indeed, even the bigger area, you've got to vote Tory. To vote otherwise is to vote for poverty, misery and the destruction of the oil industry. It's up to you. People in the North East, don't vote because you think it's the right thing. vote with your wallets, and more importantly, look to your children and vote for their future, because ultimately North Sea oil is still going to be their future for many, many years to come. You want to vote for people who want to close it down, remove that, destroy your economy, turn the whole area into third world emptiness, ready to be repopulated with new Scots. Keep going. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, he says he's urging Humza Yousaf and Sarwar to join me in a debate on the future of the sector. Like I say, they don't want to debate because they know they're both on the wrong side of history, and only Ross is standing up for the people, not just of Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire, but for the whole of Scotland. Because those two buffoons on either side want to destroy one of the biggest income generators Scotland's got. And you have to ask, why? Coming up. You have to be pretty stupid to vote for the SNP. They want to destroy the oil industry. Oh, they want to get rid of all oil and that. Take a look at the world around you. Everything you see is made either directly from oil or has used oil in the process of its manufacturer. The very world we live in is oil. Do you like eating? Be thankful for oil. Do you like having medication? Be thankful for oil. Do you like wearing clothes or glasses? Be thankful for oil. It's so necessary for everything in the modern world. And yet these backward buffoons who have no concept of what oil does want to close down Scotland's oil industry. And for what? Bird choppers and solar panels that won't generate anywhere close to the amount of energy needed to run industry. And of course you don't even have the infrastructure yet in terms of the grid to handle it. But hey, we'll close down the oil industry now. Do you know what? To close down the oil industry and build other technologies up to replace it, your great-grandchildren's great-great-grandchildren might get to that point. You're talking 200, 300 years. You're not even close. And that's with the advancements of technology now. It's hundreds of years. Because oil is so embedded in everything we do. And our infrastructure is not yet capable of doing anything else. But these, and for the want of a word, these retarded twonks cannot get over that. Because they are quite literally too stupid. Anyway, not as stupid as the people who vote for them, of course. They are. Anyway, she'll finish there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.